everybody, and welcome to the Tippy Joe Show. How's it going?
I'm Tippy. Oh, that's what you were supposed to say.
Chad. In the studio today, we have Chad Winch. Now, Chad is, as you know, our dad.
Yes. Chad is the founder of the Barn Network.
He's not our real dad,
Girl
just our
dad.
podcast dad.
Girl dad, right?
Yes, you are girl dad.
You are girl
Yeah,
dad,
yeah,
for sure.
Just throw a
And-
couple more on, it'd be fine. As long as I don't have to pay for college or anything, like we're good there, right?
Well, I don't know, man. I've been thinking about going back,
Yeah.
so if you could pop out them funds, that'd be appreciated.
Yeah.
How are you today, Chad?
I'm good. Thanks
Good.
for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
We've been trying to snag
Yeah, it's
you
only
for a
been
while.
2 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think I told you guys part of my goal for 2025 is to be more out there in the community and talk about all the cool things that we're doing as a whole, the whole network. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be talking about what I love is the barn and you guys and everybody that's a part of it. So yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome.
Cheers.
well,
Cheers,
we appreciate that. And we
yes.
appreciate you, for starters, for us being here. Because really none of us would be here, Dale or anybody.
Yeah. Bulgur, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's take it back a little bit. Let's talk about the start of the barn. Now, I know you have a business. Your day job is Everest Counseling. You're a counselor, which is awesome. I love that you are so concerned with mental health because, as you know, we are as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of really what brought us all together, that common interest. So tell us a little bit about how the barn came to be.
Yeah, and I've told the story before. So I've always had a man cave, no matter what. I have 3 daughters. So just a spot for me to kind of get away and decompress and watch the game and have a beer and maybe have some people over and have a good time. So I've always had that. And then me and Sarah, my wife, we bought the house that we live in now, I want to say 3 years ago, and was kind of putting my man cave together. And I built a little bar with a TV behind it. And one day I was on the other side of the room and I looked over and I was like, that kind of looks like a set. And long time ago, we actually had a podcast, like before even podcast. Like I remember going to my co-host and saying, hey, we should start a podcast. And he goes, what's a podcast? Like that's how long ago this
Yeah.
was. So we just had a lot of fun doing it, and it was kind of wild and crazy. And
Was that the Chris Sabo Power Hour?
yeah, the Chris Sable Power Hour with Chuck and Dwayne and Danny King. And I've always been kind of into that stuff. Some of it's like Kevin Smith and Jason. Like Kevin Smith has had the podcastle
Yeah.
something, right? Tom Green had one for a while,
Yeah.
and I've always kind of just enjoyed that sort of entertainment.
Well, Tom Green is the father of podcasting.
I
Apparently.
agree.
Yeah.
So I've always enjoyed it, and again, we had one a long time ago, and just for fun. And when I was in the barn or in my shop at the time, or my man cave, I saw that kind of vision. I was like, that looks pretty cool. And around the same time, and I don't talk about this as much as just that general story, but my cousin's Jason Teasley, who owns the Ashler Complex. Well, he was leaving his job, a very steady, well-paying job at the
Yeah.
time, to sort of take this risk to go out and be his own boss and do his own thing. And you know, at the time I was in a job where it was one of those jobs that you could just retire from easily. I was working in the school district, so I was off at 4 o'clock every day. Summers off, snow days. It's like I'm a kid again. I'm watching the weather, you know.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, you know, he actually inspired me. Seeing him to go from a 6-figure and plus job to sort of to the unknown
Yeah.
inspired me to kind of take that step too, because
Yeah.
I had a pretty convenient, good life, I think a lot of people would say. And to go out and start your own business is pretty risky. It can be
Yeah.
rewarding, but it can be kind of risky too. So anyway, I say all that to say this. Around the time me and him were looking at like advertising packages. And we were going to kind of maybe even go in together to say, hey, let's buy a package. You can do your stuff. I can do my stuff. You know, we were kind of pricing it. I was like, man, this is expensive. Like, is this really going to be worth it?
Yeah.
And I remember telling him, I was like, we could probably do this on our own. Just build enough awareness about something through whatever medium. At the time, it wasn't podcasting, or that wasn't a thought anyway. But I was like, we could probably do this on our own.
Yeah.
And so it was sort of kind of the combination of those two things that how the barn was built. It was like, you know, we
Brick
could
by
do
brick.
this on our own, you know, and have fun doing it. And here we are 2-3 years later, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
3 years, that's it, huh?
I think it's 3 years, yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second, because that is extremely impressive. What you have been able to build, the network you've been able to build, and all the podcasts that have come into this umbrella, I mean, that's impressive. That's a very short amount of time to build something like you have. So what was the driving force on getting that as quickly as you did? How did it...
Was it quick?
You know?
I feel like it probably wasn't very
it probably
quick.
felt like it was crawling, but 3
Yeah.
years, that's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, and you say, what did I do? I would say, what did we do? Like, we've done this.
Yeah.
And I know that maybe that sounds cheesy, a little tear in your eye. But we've done this. Maybe I get the credit just because, you know, I'm the owner of the barn or something. Or sometimes people want to give me some of that credit, but I couldn't have done this on my own. Like, you know, and just seeing where it's come in those 3 years is kind of, you know, pinch yourself a little bit. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
It is. If you're dedicated to it, if you love what you do, you put a lot of time, energy, and effort into it, you can do almost, I mean, it sounds cheesy, but you can do anything.
Limitless. You just
Yeah.
got to set your mind to it, and that's true.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, like, I bring this up quite a bit, is like, and maybe my friends or maybe even you guys, I kind of drag my feet
We're
sometimes.
not friends, obviously.
No, I
JK,
mean, like,
JK.
the people within the barn. I like to take things slow, because I think if you just are trying to reach out and grab every little whatever,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a long-term success plan.
Yeah, I agree with that. In order to have longevity, you can't grab onto the first thing that comes your way, because it might be cool, it might be easy, it might be convenient, but it's likely not going to last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say getting the right people around and in the barn has been super helpful. And maybe saying no sometimes. When we get offered plenty of things that we just pass on. And I
Yeah.
think, you know, some of that judgment is probably been helpful with the success that we've had. It's just been a hell of a ride and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's
Has
fun.
it ever not been a lot of fun? Like, has there ever been like times where it was maybe turmoil and you're like, what am I doing? Am I putting my energy into something I shouldn't? Or have you been able to maintain that joy that it brought to you in the start?
I'm very like a squirrel, right? And so like something cool and exciting happens, and then I'm always looking for like the next cool and exciting thing. And I think that's what keeps me motivated, is like, okay, that happened and that was cool, right? We talked to Coheed and Cambria, which is like,
That you're able to be so diverse with your coverage and what you're doing. Huh.
And that's been helpful too, is that we're not just doing one thing. Like if I was just doing sports all the time, I'd be like, oh,
You get
enough.
burnout. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, so like the variety is just as much for us, I think, as it is anybody else.
Yeah.
Because I can do music, I can do sports, I can do mental health, I can do all those things, and that keeps me sort of motivated. I wouldn't say there was ever a time that I can think of that I wasn't motivated, and I think it's because of those things. It was like, almost like, it feels like different chapters in a book.
Yeah.
Like that first big guest we got, and then that led to another big guest that we got. And, you know, think of some of the people that we've talked to, Steve-O,
Yeah.
Tiger King.
Yeah.
You know, those names always come up. Jeff Foxworthy, I know, was a big one for Kyle. And those feel like chapters in a book, kind of.
Yeah. And it's so cool because once we landed a bigger name to be able to talk to, whether it was our podcast or Vulgar or anybody else under the Barn Network, that kind of opened the gates, opened the opportunity up to get onto other names
Yeah.
and to get bigger names and bigger names. And I love seeing how we've grown, because at the start, I mean, obviously when you start out and you start talking to guests, you know, you ain't nobody. They don't care. They don't
Right.
care what you got
You
going
hope
on
they
or
care about
or
your
how
guests.
excited you are about this situation. But once you get that good guest under your belt, I mean, that just paves the way.
It's
So cool to
definitely
see.
helpful in getting other guests.
Yeah,
And that's what I
absolutely.
tell people. Like, people would ask for advice. They want to kind of get in this world. Say, just build a portfolio that you're proud of. And interview, you know, a handful of interviews that you're proud of. And if you have a big name, even better. Right? Because somebody that you send it to and you request an interview, they might see it like, oh, you know, Steve-O did it. You know, why wouldn't I do it? And that's been a huge part of our success and landing the guests that we do. But yeah, that's been a fun part too. And like also, we have you guys know, but they don't know, a private barn group on Facebook. One of the things I love is that I'll just put it out there. Hey, we're talking to Steve-O, and somebody's like, I love Steve-O. I want to be a part of it. So it's like, it feels like all of ours, rather than just segmented into specific podcast and everybody stays in their lane.
And you've always been very, what is it? I don't know. I'll lose my words.
Handsome.
Open about that with like even the other podcasts. Like you might feel like this is your turf, but we're gonna let people come in if they want to come in. We're gonna share.
You don't close that door for anybody. Equal opportunity for everybody.
Yeah.
No matter what our podcast is about, whether you've got variety, sure, you're a little bit everything, but you're just metal, but you're just sports, like it doesn't matter. You're all welcome.
Like pop punk did Travis Stevers. And you're like, oh, this bitch really likes Coheed. So we gotta let her come. So
I mean, I couldn't see being any other way.
Yeah.
If somebody's excited about something, why wouldn't you want to sort of
bring
foster
that into the
help
conversation?
That and,
But I will say the way that you run the barn and how you are so inclusive of all of us, it really kind of builds that community behind the scenes, and it keeps us all together.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm anybody's boss, but I think we've all had bosses where they were super close-lipped about the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I make it a point to not be. Like, if we make money, I want you guys to know exactly where it's going, because I don't want somebody thinking it's like, oh, we need a microphone and we made some money and where's that going?
Yeah.
So that transparency is important to me, because we've probably all had bosses where, and not that specifically, but just being able to see how the whole machine is running, I think maybe it helps you invest a little bit more.
Absolutely.
That there is some intentionality to it. As much fun as we're having, we're very intentional. I very intentionally run it like a business, because I'm not just going to take time away from my daughters and my family to not run it like a business and to not see some growth and some opportunities. And
I understand that
and all
completely.
that. And I'm telling you guys this. You guys already know this stuff.
Yeah, but they don't know, so it's okay. This is for you. So you've got Everest Counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that. When did you start that business?
That was kind of around the same time.
Yeah.
So it all kind of happened around the same time.
Yeah.
And that was the business that I was originally talking about, is like the advertising packages and all that. Jason was doing his thing with Ashler and whatever else he had planned at the time, and I was starting my counseling business. So I knew it was a business that nobody knew. I knew some people in the area, but not a whole lot. I knew that I needed a little extra help and push to kind of get that going.
Get your business's name out there.
Yeah. So that's why we were kind of searching for those things. And I actually don't even push that part of my life too much.
Yeah.
I'll tag it every once in a while. And I will say it's one of our premier sponsors, but we have major contracts that keep us busy enough. So if we're about to bring a couple more people on to kind of help with some of that. But,
That's awesome.
So I don't really push it as much as maybe some other people would.
Yeah.
But I'm basically kind of trying to build two businesses at the same time. So I need to sort of level that out in some way.
Yeah.
But Everest is the reason the barn even exists at all, because it's the funding to, the equipment in my studio, and not you guys', but
Well, it's like partially why occasionally you will see Copper Fox as a sponsor for the show.
Exactly.
Because in reality, they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about all the podcasts that you are part of. You've got your hand in a lot of different pots here at the barn, which is very cool. You have Girl Dad.
Yeah. We do that. I don't even know what that is, really.
It's fun. That's what it is. It's a dad having fun.
Yeah.
I want
just a way
people-
to spend time with your girls.
Yeah, and it's on their terms. Like, I'd never exploit my kids. Like, come on this podcast. It's all their ideas. So anytime they want to, anytime you see us live or doing something, it's like, hey, because they're all into it too. Like, even if you watch the lives, they're like, who's on? Who's on? Tell Tina I said hi.
That's so cute. Every time I see him on, I try to be like, I gotta stop for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So what you're doing, you gotta watch Chad's kids.
I like that they're so interested in that. That really is like sparking their creativity at such a young age.
Yeah, and you know this tip is when your kids get older, it just makes you appreciate your time with them so much more.
Yeah, they're a lot cooler when they're older.
She's like, mine aren't old enough yet. At least 2 aren't.
You know, they say like time's like the greatest commodity that you can have, and especially my oldest one, like she's gonna be driving in a year and a half, and
Isn't that wild?
so I'm just trying to, you know, like we work hard. Like I work 7 days a week and probably put in 60 hours of work, you know, between whatever. But when we're not working, we're playing hard.
Yeah.
So we work hard, but we play hard too, and I like to show that a little bit. I mean, I like. One, the grandmas like to see it when we're doing fun stuff, but I don't know. It's fun for us.
Have any of your girls expressed that they wanted to do something maybe on their own without dad?
I think they probably will eventually. Yeah.
That'll be awesome.
Yep.
I'm really excited to see that.
I'm part of our parent, you know, plan or way we feel about parenting is we want them to find their own, whatever that is. We're not going to push them into anything. If they are into something, we're going to help support that as much as it's healthy.
Yeah, of course.
But we don't ever push them into anything.
Yeah.
My oldest, Melody, she's really into the photography aspect of it. And even some of the sports stuff we were doing, we were going and, you know, taking pictures at football games and stuff. She really got into that. She got a camera for Christmas. So I could definitely see her doing something.
Yeah.
In this kind of now, Grace is pretty good on mic. Ava's a little bit of a character, so I don't know. I could see him doing something eventually.
I could too. Those girls are fun. When they're behind that mic, they're definitely having a blast. And anytime we're out of the barn, they always love to come hang out and see what everybody's doing and get in on the mix. And it's just too cute to see. I love it.
Well, that last time we hung out there, I was like, nobody bring your kids. And then all 3 of my kids are there. I was like, well, let's have some adult time. Let's have some drinks.
Yeah.
And when you guys left there, they were like, Tippy says a lot of bad words.
Bye. Sorry.
Like, well, I can't tell her what to do.
God, it wasn't me.
Well, it probably was.
Oh, that's too funny.
But that time we thought we had a sitter and it fell through or something.
Yeah.
So
It
like, leave your
happens,
kids at home. This is
man.
going to be an adult hang, just the barn people, 3
But
kids.
I like the fact that even though your girls were old enough that you could have been like, go in the house. You weren't. You were like, no, they're here. They're going to hang out with us, deal with it. I don't care if any of you thought there weren't going to be any kids. But I view your children as children, but I just like to hang out with those little girls when I run with them. Like, they're fun. They're always so friendly. They're, like she said, they're excited when they see us. And that's just fun to have people be excited when they see you.
Yeah, they got a lot of Sarah in them, I think.
Yeah.
They're sweet girls.
You know, I have to say it out loud, but I literally had a thought the other day that someone was like, who's the prettiest woman in St. Francis County? And I literally was like, Chad's wife.
Oh, your
Fucking wife is beautiful.
She's
so
a smoke
beautiful.
show.
Whenever she was sitting there, I was like, why? How did he get such a babe?
She's looking back and forth like, something ain't in. No. Just kidding.
No, but I had met her once before, but I guess never really enough. And then I was like, wow, she's so pretty.
So we are celebrating 20 years of marriage this summer.
Congratulations.
We're trying to figure out what we're going to do. We're going to do something special.
Something special.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Which is pretty rare. You
That
know,
is.
you don't get that a whole lot, and I'm very lucky. I'm very fortunate. The barn or anything I'm a part of wouldn't happen without the support of her, and she could easily tell me what to do and what not to do, and she chooses not to.
That's
and
good.
I'm glad.
Supportive partner. That's important in
Yeah.
life, to have somebody that really backs you in everything that you're doing, you know, supporting your dreams.
Yeah.
I love that for you guys.
And she's amazing. You know, I hope my girls are, you know, half the woman that she is.
Yeah.
And she's pretty.
She is very pretty.
Yeah, I
Three
walk
pretty
around.
girls, too. So.
I walk around like, hey.
Now, you're also on Vulgar Display Podcast.
Mm-hmm. That's the boys.
Yes.
That's when you go by the Moxie? Or is the Mox what you went
Mox.
by
The
on
Mox.
the original podcast?
Well, Dell came up with the Mox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
So, do you know the movie Varsity Blues? It was
Yeah.
from like the 90s. The quarterback is Johnny Moxon, and they call him the Mox.
Oh.
So, what Dell is kind of insinuating is I'm like the quarterback of the barn.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So, that's how it started.
Yeah.
And even the other day, I was thinking to myself, I always kind of I'm a big Howard Stern fan and have been for years. And I kind of want a morning radio show.
Yeah.
And I always thought the Mox in the mornings would be a good
That's
title.
a good title.
Yeah. What?
What? Bam, Ox in the morning.
I'll put that on there. Wait for it.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up with something like that eventually.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about this is, like, we're all building our own brands, I guess, which feels weird and icky saying, but I could see, I mentioned on the Artists United interview that I know you guys watched, or at least you mentioned it, I could easily see you guys on TV. I could easily see Anthony from Vulgar being a music journalist.
Yeah.
I could easily see Dale in, like, jail or something. No, I'm kidding.
We love you, Dale.
But I could see so many different opportunities spawn from what we're doing now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think the most important thing is all of us putting ourselves out there the way that we are.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely is like a road for opportunity for everybody.
You don't
so.
put yourself out there, you're never going to get noticed.
Absolutely.
And I love the behind the sscenes stuff just as much as I don't even like being on camera and mic
It
for
was
the most.
honestly a struggle getting him here, so I get that.
And I think I'm better at that than probably anything else, is like the administrative type of things and the booking and the scheduling and sort of all that stuff is fun for me for some reason. I don't even know why, but I could see myself in some kind of role like that in the future.
Yeah, more behind the scenes. So now I have to ask a question of you because I've got a theory about the way that brains work.
Okay.
Okay. If I told you to picture a llama in your mind, would you be able to see it in your mind?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see things in your mind. That's cool. Okay, how do you think? Like, do you hear yourself when you're thinking, or do you just see pictures?
I don't think I see pictures. Like, just like sitting here right here now, or like if I'm laying down in bed.
Either way. Like when you're thinking, when you're brainstorming, what's going on up there? What's
I never
rolling
thought of
around
that.
in there?
Are you a visual thinker, or is it just thoughts?
Like,
See, I can't even
maybe you
comprehend
see
that.
words going by because that's how it processes it, or there's no image at all, like just blackness.
I would say mostly like hearing myself talk is my thoughts.
Yeah.
But if I'm like laying down in bed where everything's like dark, or it's like, there's not a lot happening.
Yeah.
I could definitely see like visuals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're thinking, you have that inner monologue, right?
Yes.
Okay. See, that's interesting to me because that kind of puts a hinge in my theory because so I've gotten this theory because I've been talking to a lot of people about their thought process and how it works because for me, I'm very ADHD. I think we all know that by now, but I have an inner monologue and it is nonstop, constantly going. And I'm also able to picture things in my mind when I think about things, but that's not something for everybody. And whenever I learned that some people don't have an inner monologue, that really messed me up for a minute. I was like, I cannot even comprehend how that works. Like, it's just silent. Like, you don't hear nothing in there. Like, that's wild to me. But my theory is that people who are more creative have the inner monologue and have the ability to picture things, and people who aren't don't. But that is because everybody I've talked to so far, my test samples, that's been the way it is.
I didn't mean to poke a
Yeah, you
hole
really
in
messed it up. What's wrong with you?
And I don't even know if I gave you a good answer. I think I hear the talking.
Yeah.
I've never really thought about it, which is why I don't have a good answer for you. But
Well, maybe now you'll think about that.
Yeah.
This will keep you up at night now.
Well, I'll
You'll be like,
visualize it.
dang, I wonder.
And it could be that some people might rely on their inner monologue more than others. So like Chad,
Yeah,
being like,
I
I don't know,
guess
I've
so.
never really noticed my because he doesn't rely on it. It's just kind of there.
Yeah. I don't necessarily rely on it. It just
Oh, I
doesn't
do. I talk to that
stop.
bitch back and forth nonstop.
I'll tell you one thing I don't like is dead, silent, quiet.
Oh, me either.
I can't do it. So,
Why for you, though?
I think because, like, even last night, I told Sarah, I was like, I didn't sleep very well because I was thinking about all my day today, and it's just like I can't. If I don't have something else to sort of even concentrate on, like I'll fall asleep to a podcast or audio book or even the fan making noise.
Yeah.
If I don't have something else going on, it's the engine will start running and
Yep.
I can't turn it off.
I'm the same way. What about you? Are you a deep thinker when the lights are off?
Yeah, but I just do the deep thinking.
Yeah. And are you a silent sleeper, or do you got to have noise?
Brett says no. I talk in my sleep. I roll around in my sleep. I fight in my sleep.
I mean, do you have to have something to listen to when you go to sleep, whether it be a fan or the TV or a podcast or whatever?
Usually like a white noise, but
Yeah.
I don't have to. But sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
It
Man,
really
I
just
can't. If I
depends.
go to like a hotel or something, that's like
Yeah.
so hard because you know you don't have your things from home. Like
Yeah.
I ain't got my Google there playing a rainstorm
Yeah.
for me like I do at home.
Yeah.
That's a struggle.
If it's quiet, I can hear things like 3 blocks away.
Me too.
And I'm like, why is that
what is
dog
that?
barking?
Yes.
And then I get fixated on the dog.
There's a
and then,
lurker
like,
out there somewhere.
I'm the
Yeah.
same way with
Probably
that.
an overthinker for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
And I think it's benefited me some too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where I'm sort of planned for everything because I've planned for everything. Every
Big
kind
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big picture.
Yeah. Overthinkers really tend to see all sides of something because they overthink about it.
Yeah. I struggle with connecting with people that don't see the bigger picture,
Yeah.
that see the problem as it is and how it's a roadblock rather than seeing how it can actually sometimes be helpful, or sometimes it's a lesson that you learned, or somehow you're better because you went through it, or whatever it is. I'm using that as an example, but I have a difficult time understanding people that don't see it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Mic drop. Don't drop these mics.
Now, with you being a counselor and having Everest Counseling, I'm sure you got a lot of tools under your belt that kind of help you to de-stress when you do get into that overthinking mode. What are some things that you do to kind of help alleviate that constant thought?
It's not a good, healthy answer that I would give to somebody else.
Yeah.
But I think work.
Yeah.
You know, I like to edit, as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a pain if it's a lot. And I do some editing for some of the other podcasts on our network, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry that you have to do this." And I'm like, I act like it's it's like, "Oh, I don't even know how I'm gonna fit it in," but secretly I'm like, "Yeah."
Behind the scenes, like rubbing your hands, you're like, "Ooh, they about to finish
Yeah.
that podcast."
Probably that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's, again, as a therapist, I probably wouldn't recommend that because you're like trading one thing out for another.
Well,
but
you know, I mean, some people, work is their creative outlet.
Yeah.
For, like, if you're a doer, some people are just doers. Like, for me, I'm a doer. I gotta go. If I am stationary, I get in it.
Yeah.
I get depressed. I get down. I have to be doing something. And my favorite hobby is work. As
Yeah.
crazy as that sounds.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have to be doing something.
Yeah.
Even if what I'm doing is nothing, like I'm intentional. Like if there's a game on, I tell the family, like, I'm not moving from this chair. So like I'm actually doing something, you know what I mean? Does that make even make
yeah,
sense?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like what I'm doing is not doing anything.
Yeah.
So I always have to feel like I'm, doing something.
Yeah.
So it sounds similar
Yeah,
to
you're a
what you're
doer.
saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I like to do things productive, but I also like to sit around and do nothing.
Yeah. I'm a
I have that capability. Well, because sometimes people will sit around and they think they're doing something, but they're really doing nothing.
True.
So then you're just wasting your time pretending like you're doing something.
True. When I'm not doing anything, I'm thinking about the things I should be doing.
Yeah, like if anything, if I'm sitting there doing nothing, it's because I'm like, what can I do that will be productive?
Yeah.
True. I am one of those people that, if I'm not doing anything at all, I will go crazy, like I said earlier. But I'm also a productive procrastinator. And that's like one of my great skills, is if I have a list of things to do, I'll do anything but what's on that list. But it's all going to be stuff that needs to be done anyway.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I'm still being productive. But also at the end of the day, I'm telling myself, wow, you're a piece of shit. You didn't get nothing on that list done. That's a
You like a
double-edged sword
challenge.
there, Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about the podcast stuff, one of the things, I think you guys feel the same way, is seeing the growth, not with numbers and all that stuff, but like going back and seeing, I was just kind of looking at that graphic back there. It was like where you guys came from to see where it is now. So seeing like us get better.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my time is spent on just trying to fine tune things to make it a little bit better.
Put better quality into the production.
Yeah, I might, learn a new technique on an editing program, or see something from somebody else on TV. Their graphic does this kind of thing, and so I spend a lot of my time just kind of doing that.
Yeah.
Where it's productive, but it's also
Well, you're learning.
Learning.
So it is very productive.
And I'm a lifelong learner. I mean, I put probably a book away, an audio book, because I do a lot of driving, probably a book every couple weeks.
Yeah.
I just turn it on and don't hear half of it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say? But it's on.
Yeah.
You catch the important parts.
But yeah, I spend a lot of my time just doing some of those like finer tuned things, and that's part of the creative mind too.
Yeah.
When I see something look better, or I feel like we're doing something better, you know, and having a creative element in that, that's very satisfying.
Gives you a real sense
rewarding.
of accomplishment for sure.
Yeah. You guys like podcasting?
Cool. We love podcasting. You know, it's I think I speak for both of us. Sometimes it can be a love-hate relationship with podcasting. Sometimes when you do something for so long, you can kind of hit a little bit of a lull and feel like a little bit of a burnout when things get too, I don't want to say stagnant, because we've always done different things, but at the same time, when things get a little too repetitive, I guess I would say it does kind of get you into a mode there, but we definitely always come back around, and I love podcasting.
Well, like we said, like with her doing a new possible thing, it's happening. It's happening. Stay tuned. But
Did we say that on air or off air?
Well, like, I don't care.
I can't remember
What,
if we.
on or off
It
air?
was
on air.
off air,
I don't
but
know. Who knows? Wiley will kill me later for having to edit this out. It's okay. But why we're trying to broaden, you know, like pinpoint things that maybe each of us likes to do and do it, like Kyle did with his struggle street sessions. And I looked at her and she's like, I need something more. I need something more creative for me to get out.
Yeah.
And, you know, she'd been beating around whether she should do this. I said, we'll do it. Do it. We probably do 15-minute, 20-minute little stories, however you want to do them. If you want to do videos, send me that stuff. I'll tinker with it and play with it. You don't have to do it all on your own. But then it's getting that creativeness from the stagnant of constant interviews, which we love doing the interviews because I love to promote anyone that we have on. I love to promote what they're doing and share what they're doing. But sometimes, you know, you want to get back to like how you said you like it when it's me and her just sitting around talking about God knows what.
Being goobers.
And bouncing off of each other.
Yeah, and I think it's the relationship that people tune in for.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the interviews are great. And I love doing interviews too, because like you're saying, you get to highlight somebody else. Like even this talking about ourselves feels kind of weird to me because we're always helping other people tell their story. But I also think part of the 2025 goal is for us to tell our own story a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think it's the friendship that people tune into. Probably the same thing with Vulgar, right? When me, Dale, and Twan are in the room, like, you're probably going to laugh.
I know, that's why I'm like, well, we got to stop.
At some point, Dale's going to say something funny, probably get us canceled. And I think, you know, people have told us that too, because, you know, getting all these interviews that are so cool for us, we grew up idolizing some of these people. So get to talk to them is like, how could you not do that?
Yeah.
But I've heard more than one person say, hey, I like when you guys are just kind of hanging. And we're going to be more intentional about just doing some of that where we're just talking about music.
Yeah.
And I think, again, it's kind of the connection and the friendship that people are investing in. And more so you guys than anybody else, probably on the network.
Well, that makes us feel good.
I think a lot of you guys.
Thank you. We think a lot of you.
Yay.
So how long have you and Dale known each other? Antoine?
Me and Anthony were friends in the 6th grade.
Oh, wow.
He was the best man in my wedding. I was not the best man in his wedding.
That mother fricker.
What a jerk, right?
Right?
Does he have a brother?
He does.
Do you have
Was
a brother?
his-
I don't.
Shut up, Chad.
Was his brother his best man? Oh,
He was.
Dang, Anthony, for liking your brother. What's wrong with you?
He probably would have had me, but his brother would have been mad.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah. So we've been best friends since 6th grade. And we've always bonded over music and comedy, too.
Yeah.
The thing about Anthony is, like, he's sneaky funny. He's very, like, flat affect. You're in the room with him, you're like, I don't think that guy likes me.
Yeah.
But he's pretty quiet. He's pretty introverted. But he's like one of those sneaky funny guys where like he'll say a joke, but it's like way over there and like, was that funny? Was it? He say
Like,
something funny?
I want to laugh, but
You're an echo of humor somewhere.
it's just a whisper.
and he gets me very well. He knows me other than Sarah better than anybody else. So he knows that I'm going to be doing very Chad things, and he's okay with that.
Yeah.
So it's a good relationship.
Nice.
Dale was a little bit later, but it's been 20 years probably.
Oh, wow.
Long time. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a long time.
Yep.
How long have I known you now?
He said it the other day.
He's new.
18 years. She says it all the time.
18. It's been longer than that.
How old
Because
am I?
it was
I'm
like-
26. 20 years.
Junior year.
20 years.
20 years.
It was like freshman summer school or sophomore summer school.
Yeah.
So it's been 20
So
years.
it's 20-ish,
It's been
20-ish years. Been a hot little minute.
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She hates it though. Like she
Oh,
said a comment in the same
whatever.
breath. She looked at me and she goes, you know, sometimes we're in a situation and you pick up on like that I'm uncomfortable or something. So you will change the environment
Oh, she does
to make me more comfortable. And she looked at me and she says, and part of me is like, that is so nice of her. She's such a good friend. But then the other part of her was like, that. So well
True,
what
it's
I
true.
do. I'm like, I don't even know I do it. But I'm an empath anyway, so I'm
Yeah.
constantly trying to make other people feel comfortable to the point of making my own self uncomfortable.
Well, in knowing Joe for as long as I have, she, just like Twan and you, like Joe knows me better than pretty much anybody
Yeah.
in my life. Of course, my husband knows me just as well. Probably not, though. You probably know me
Well,
better
that's what I
than
was
him.
going to say. It's because they know a different version of
Yeah,
you,
it's
right?
different sides.
And that's something I want to talk to you about too in just a second. Don't let me forget that.
Okay.
Different version. But anyhow, so, growing up, I didn't know that I was as mentally unwell as I've figured out that I am. But I think the older I get, a little crazier I get. Each year, I just go off my rocker a little bit more and a little bit more. And in our friendship,
I'm like, it's okay. I'll be there when you got the dementia. It's all right.
but that is something that we talked about because I'm a very skilled masker. Not a lot of people know just how cuckoo crazy I am because I do present myself well. I'm a chameleon. I figured out how to
Yep.
fit in. I can go into a room and
I'm
I'm going to
gonna
belong with
alter
you
her
guys.
cuckoo crazy to how she might be upset or actually feeling.
Yes.
Okay, not crazy.
But like when I'm acting normal in a situation, Joe knows when I am not actually okay. And she'll be like, hey, I'm a little OCD about a lot of things. And she'll be like, do I need to maybe move this here so it's better for your brain? And I'd be like, yes. And then I'll also be like, shut the frick up.
Yeah.
Like, why are you saying that?
You don't want people to be able to
it's
see
nice,
that.
but it's also like, why? Don't see through it. Like, I built this persona for a good reason.
Yeah.
I was there while it was being built.
True story. True story.
One of my favorite things about having good, true friendships is they will call you out.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like if I want to know something about myself, like if I'm not being self-aware at all,
Mhm.
Yeah.
go hang around my buddies and have a couple beers. Like, remember that time you did this or you're doing this? It's like, oh yeah, I'm a piece of shit. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Thanks
Yeah.
for letting me know.
I had some people will come around occasionally and like you can tell I like somebody if I'm busting their balls and they're truly my friend, I'm busting their balls and they're busting my balls. It's
Yeah.
just what me and my friends do. And we've had people like come to hang out for the night or something and they're like, you don't really like me that much. Like, no, I actually do like you.
Yeah.
That's how you know.
Yeah, if I was nice to you the whole time,
Yeah.
that's
I
that's
never
a red
wanna
flag
see
for
you again.
That's kind of my love language, right?
Yes,
Like
yes.
making fun of your shoes or, whatever
Hey, these
it
shoes
is.
are dope. But anyway.
Not yours,
Oh.
hers.
Mine are very dope too. How Beatles are they?
So that's how you can tell, that you're really my friend, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like-
Are you a big brother? Do you have any siblings?
I have a younger sister.
Were you a
I
you
was-
a
I
big
was a big
brother
brother.
to her?
I was not a good brother. I'm trying to make up for that.
There's a difference between being a brother and being a big brother. Like you can be like I'm a big brother, but I'm the baby of the family, and obviously I'm a girl. But also, my big brother taught me how to be a big brother.
Yeah.
And like that has really affected my whole personality, and especially in the way that I interact with friends. Just like you, if I'm not picking on you,
Yeah.
it ain't it.
I'm so close with my sister. I mean, we talk every day.
Yeah.
But when we were younger, younger sister, she's
Yes.
4 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So she just drove me insane. And I wasn't a good brother. Like, I'll fully admit that. I'm trying to work on that now. I'm trying to be better now, maybe to make up for some of that. And that's not really how it works out. But we're very close now, and we have a great relationship.
That's good. I mean, you live, you learn, you grow. We all do some stuff in our past that probably wasn't the best or the nicest, but as you get older, you understand those aren't things you can do.
I do feel like I'm doing life a little bit better.
Yeah.
Than maybe ever.
That's good.
And some of it is, I think, the professional just happiness that I feel, contentness.
More fulfilled.
Fulfilled, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm putting all the time and effort I'm putting into something is building something that's for us, not for somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
When you work for somebody else, you know, whatever it is, a company, you're working for them, you're building their dream.
Yeah.
You're lining their pockets.
Yeah.
You talked about where you could envision us and other people. Like, where are you envisioning the Barn Media Network? Say 2 years from now.
Man, I have no idea.
No.
But it's not going to be where we're at right now. I know that.
Yeah.
You know, I've had people say this, even on the interview that we did with Artists United. He said that you guys are the fastest growing media company from St. Louis to Cape. And that's definitely true, just geographically. And I don't see growth as always in, you know, number of followers or anything like that. But if you look at what we're doing, the team that we've built and what we're getting to do, I'm really excited about the future.
Yeah.
I kind of was thinking this not too long ago, is like, if we would have quit, like if we were going to quit, it would have already happened.
Yes.
Like, we're too deep now. Right.
Yes.
Well, and it's like, not to necessarily bring up a movie, but with Saturday Night Live, you know, that movie coming out that they made about that, and then all the documentaries coming out, like, I can't help but sit back and look. It's been 50 years, but what they started out with to what it is today, like even the quality, the concepts of the humor, costume. I'm just gonna go with the costumes because they were so funny back in the day, and now they're better quality, so it's worse. But just that started off as someone getting a chance, which they all thought he was going to fail, and he put it together and he did it, and that stuff has been running for 50 years.
And I don't know if it's ego, but when I watch things like that, like the Nike movie, did you guys watch that movie?
No.
Not yet.
You don't even have to like sports to enjoy that movie, I don't think.
Yeah.
It's not about sports. It's more about business, maybe.
Yeah.
And taking risk, and watch that movie. It's a great movie. I forget. I don't even know what it's called. I'll send it to you.
Well, I think a lot of it's perseverance.
Yeah.
You know?
You got to just do it.
And keep doing it.
Mic drop. But when I see things like that, it does remind me of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I do see air. Yeah.
That does make sense.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. And actually, I put something up in the barn that's Nike related, actually behind us. So if you're watching us behind the bar, you'll see it up there. But I see things like that, and it actually reminds me of what we're doing.
Yeah.
And also, like, I want to say this is, there's other people in the area that do what we do. I want to unify all of us. Whether you're a part of the barn, in the barn or not, we're all in this together. And we can't survive without all of us helping and supporting each other.
Yeah.
That's how things grow. That's how things like magic happens. And if you get into these, like, you know, little spats, or this should be doing this or whatever, and if you have, you know, just not good connections and relationships with people, you're missing out.
Yeah.
That's what we refer to our cousins.
Yeah.
Not our brothers and sisters, because they're not on the barn, but they're our cousins.
Yeah, and like all the venues, the underground, and I love Big River Outdoors Campground, and we're very lucky, and Four Towns is right here, and you know, we're very lucky to have what we're having, because, you know, Brett will remember back in the day, we had a really, you guys remember too, a very awesome music scene.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately, that like got cut. I feel like as soon as we got to high school, you
well,
said
I
you
was
remember
around it.
vaguely of
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's because I had a big brother.
Yeah, me none.
But you know, and I don't think we're there yet, but it feels like it's sort of similar to that.
Yeah.
And it feels like it could be something like that. And I know a lot of people are involved in it, and I think we're a big piece in that puzzle, and I think other people would say that too. So we're looking to unify. I don't get caught up in all the drama. I don't care. If you bring drama to me, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Tell it to somebody else, and I'll shut it down too. We're looking to help other people.
You kind of have to think about it like it's a small business. You know, we're selling ourselves, basically. But in small business, and, you know, as a small business owner, I'm sure you understand this as well, but you have to build that community of other small businesses, because just like Jason loves to say, a rising tide lifts all boats. If your neighbor is doing well, you're going to do well because they're doing well. If people are coming to your street to patron their business, chances are they might walk into your business. It's the same way with the podcast. If you come on my podcast and you're on a different network, hey, that's cool, because that brings more eyes to both of our things rather than you're gaining something and I'm gaining something separately. No, we're all working together. We're all going to be climbing that ladder together.
Here's the cool thing that I think, as well as all these things that we're talking about, is that we're really the first to kind of do this in this area. Not the first podcast to ever exist, but the first independent media company to exist, as big as it is, with all these different podcasts, all these different talents, and all these different, characters that are, characters is a bad word. That seems weird. Like,
Nah,
I'm the Mox.
Personalities.
There
you
go. We're the first to do it. So like, let's carve the way for other people to come behind and do it.
Yeah.
Now, we might be long gone by then in New York City or LA or wherever you guys end up. With fat pockets, but at least we've carved the way for other people, because me and Kyle have talked about this a ton of time with Travis, East of Elvin's podcast. He's reached out so many times, and we're able to help him because we made the same mistakes that he's making.
Yeah.
Like, no, change the camera to this or change the mic to this.
Already learned. Now you can teach him what not to do.
So he's already, and other podcasts too, and other people just in general are already up their game, because we've dealt with the struggles and the and the errors and the losing a whole episode, and here's how not to do that.
Yeah. And I love that I love that the mindset of the barn is not, well, I had to struggle, so you should too. I love that the mindset of the barn is, I had to struggle so that you don't have to. That's the way that everybody should be, you know, like if you bring people together, and I think that's something that sometimes people forget. Okay. If you're trying to build something, you know what people love more than anything? Community. At the end of the day, people love to belong to something. People are longing to belong to something, to be part of something that's bigger than them, whether that be a podcast community, a small business community, a regular town community. You see people joining in on community events, going to community events, joining their chamber, things like that. People long for something bigger than themselves and more of a purpose. So what we're doing, I think what you're doing with the barn, I mean, to the moon, man. That's going to be some good stuff.
We'll look back on this and it's, I think people will be impressed.
Yeah.
That we were able to create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
And not that we have all the answers, not that we do everything right, but we're led with our values rather than short-term profits. We're in this for the long haul. We're in this for the long game. And that's how we run it. And I think success is going to come, whatever success means. For some people, it means money. For some people, it means independence and be able to do what you want. For some, it's just a creative outlet, and that's okay too. You know, we're probably all in this for different reasons, but we're all in this. Yeah. So I'm proud of what we've done so far.
Me too.
And I cannot wait to see where
2025 goes. I'm excited.
Me too.
That's why I keep telling, I was like, winter's just got us down a little bit here on the Tippy Joe show, but as soon as this cold breaks, we're busting out again.
Winter was tough.
Yeah.
Well, we're such social butterflies. We're such social people, and not being able to get out and do the things that we do during the summertime, cover all the events, go to the festivals, talk to all the people, meet all the artists. Like, it really has taken a toll on our fulfillment meter, you know, like it's low right now because we can't go and do those things because those things just don't happen in the wintertime. So we're ready for that warmer weather and getting back out there. And
we have a couple coming up.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
in February, we're going to go down and do the drag show at the Park Hills Underground.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. Are you going to be attending?
It's on my birthday.
Your birthday's February 22nd?
Uh-huh.
My birthday's February 27th.
So close.
Interesting.
So it's like, no, don't come because I'm not sharing my birthday with you, Jack.
No.
So I'm actually performing that night.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
What's your name? What's your stage name?
Moxie.
Moxina.
No, but I'm glad the small town can have something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I hear there's pushback, maybe a little bit.
Well, there
Yeah.
was the first time. I don't really know if there is this time because,
I know
Like,
the first time.
Like, grow up.
Right.
yeah.
Like,
But also, thanks for the pushback, because if it wasn't for the pushback, I don't think it would have reached as many people as it did. You know how they say any press is good press? While that may not always be the truth, it definitely helps. If you come on our video and you comment some stuff like, I hate Tina's shirt, I hate Tiffany's shoes. Thank you for commenting.
yeah.
I don't really care that you hate it. You watched our video, Ian made a comment. Same with them down at the underground, though. That getting so much pushback on it,
Helped.
man.
Made someone be like, I wasn't going to go out tonight, but
Yeah.
now I am.
And made people be like, I didn't even know this was happening, but now I'll be attending.
Yeah, I try to always be respectful of people's opinions, except when they're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, grow up. It's 2025.
Yep.
People can have fun in ways that you don't, and that's okay.
Yep.
You don't have all the answers. And I do have a lot of problems with, I love my community. I love small town life.
Mm-hmm.
I can't live in the city. I like
Yeah.
to visit. I'll go to Chicago. Then I'm ready to get home after a couple of days.
Yeah.
But the small town mentality
The
at times,
closed-mindedness that can show
Closed-mindedness.
itself. Yeah.
I can't get behind that. And I have strong opinions against that.
And you're like, 2025, I'm going to whip out this like 1970s saying of, you don't have anything nice to say, don't say nothing.
Right.
Just, psh.
Yeah, like, how bored are you?
Yeah.
And what kind of empty hole do you have inside of you that you're trying to fill by putting other
Right.
people down? And if that's the case, I'm sorry that is the case, but
Yeah.
but it's wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe find a hobby that's not hate filled.
Yeah. A lot of people tune into our stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people that, I'm sure you guys experience this. I'll be in Walmart. Somebody I worked with like 15 years ago. Hey, I saw that thing. And you're like, you listen to the podcast?
Yes.
So, those numbers and those views are coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is haters. Sometimes it's the people that don't like us that are
Mhm.
tuning in. And that's okay too. Thanks
Because they're
again.
watching anyway. So keep hating. We had a really cool experience with something like that. So a friend of ours went up to the city to go to a show, a
Oh, yeah.
concert. And when she had mentioned to the performers where she was from, they said, "Oh, you're from there? Oh, we love, do you know the Tippy Joe show?" No clue who those people are. We've
Oh,
never
wow.
spoken to them. That was cool. That makes you feel good,
Yeah. Man, one of the most mind-blowing things with all this is I reached out to a publicist. And I actually reached out for the Pop Punk Pizza Party guys,
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace, to get an interview. And I had never talked to this publicist, this person ever before. And she goes, "Don't you also have a metal podcast?"
Ooh.
And this is somebody very in tune and in touch with the business I think it was like Los Angeles or New York or something. One of these big ones.
Dang.
And I was like, yeah. And they were aware of it, and like being embraced by some of those, the metal community or the music community. It's really neat to be sort of in the system now,
Yeah.
in the machine now, and kind of seeing some of the things that happen behind it. And I'm always impressed that it's not like a dog eat dog kind of thing,
Yeah.
that it's relationships, and you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. You do good work, we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
And I think, again, we've benefited from that too.
You said doggy dog, but really nobody wants the drama. No one that's trying to successfully create anything wants necessarily unprovoked drama brought in.
Yeah. And we're working with some of the biggest companies, like William Morris Agency. If people are familiar in that world, that's Adam Sandler's on there, and we're talking with them daily and getting emails from them. And then people are pitching us stuff. Hey, can you cover this?
Yeah.
I was
Which
like,
is really cool.
yeah, yeah. hey, we know you do St. Louis. You know, sometimes you'll get placed on like databases for like regionality.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're in the Midwest. So I might get an email that says, hey, this band is coming to Chicago. Can you help them out?
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Really cool.
Super duper.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up on you, Chad.
Why?
Because it's been about
Keep going.
55 minutes. Well, that probably needs to stop, but that can keep going.
No, I'm just teasing. Thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. We appreciate everything that you do with the barn. We appreciate you bringing everybody together. We appreciate you being our dad, and we appreciate you being the coolest girl dad in the world.
Girl Dad.
Yeah. To girl dad.
Dirty Right
To
Rear
Girl Dad.
Podcast, the Parkland
What do you
Podcast,
say?
Bible Time at the Barn, Birds and Swords, Midwest Mixtape. We talked a bunch about Vulgar.
Tippy Joe Show.
Tippy Joe Show, of course.
There will be a flyer ad on this video that will have all the podcasts on it.
We missing any?
That's the best part. I know.
Well, Dirty Rate Road, Dirty Race.
What-
the vape
Yeah,
What'd
part.
you
Dirty Right Rear.
Dirty Right Rear
Dirty Right
Podcast.
Rear podcast. They pretty much joined the family, right?
Yeah, I love those guys. And I like that world. I just don't know a lot about it. And we have a strong dirt race community in this area and nobody's covering it.
Yeah.
So I was so glad to bring them on board. And you know how we talked about is like, we don't just like open the doors for anybody. Like you have to kind of prove yourself, as bad as that sounds. Well, they're just so good and committed to it. I was like, let's bring them on.
They do great. You guys do great.
And Dawn too, she's been really supportive of you guys. And
Yeah, she's been awesome. She really has.
She talks so highly of you guys.
Well, I don't know why
That's
I
so
never
sweet.
thought of it, but like that day when I went on my mask, I gotta share like everything. I haven't been doing that. I was like, why have I not sent this to my mother? Because my mom likes to go to church, but not so much getting up in the going process anymore. So I was like, yeah, you will love Dawn, Mom. It's just like being in the old single room church back in the day. So yeah, she's really been enjoying it though.
And you talked about that before. Is like sometimes you forget to like stuff. You're just kind of going through, or you feel like maybe they don't need it. Everybody knows.
I'm like sitting there. I was like, man, if we could all just remember to hit each other up and like and share some of our stuff out, because sometimes I forget and I'm like, man, we don't even look like we're supporting each other over here.
I know, and it's weird too. I'm sure you guys experience this. Is like something I'll post where I think will get a lot of attention. It doesn't, and I think it's just not hitting people's algorithm.
Yeah,
and it's the like and the shares and the comments that will help it reach other people. And I do wish we were better at that. Everybody supports everybody.
Oh yeah,
on the network. I just think we should probably be a little bit more active in
the digital space.
Yeah.
Like I think we just remember and we
sure.
get all of our stuff done and we're like, okay, I can take wait a minute. Just let me take 7 minutes to go through and look and see what everybody else is doing, what they might need shared out. A lot of times some people ask for opinions or from other people.
Yeah. I think we're all guilty of just kind of getting caught up in life.
Yeah.
And once we shut off work mode, it can be hard to want to do that. Not that obviously it's not hard. You know, you clicking a button, you're doing that all day long. You doom scrolling, you stop, you like it, you share it. It's real easy. But at the same time, I can understand that sometimes it feels like work, which might be why some people just kind of put it on the back burner as far as their priorities. And that's okay. You know, we're all guilty of it, but we're telling you now that TJS is trying to be more mindful in 2025 and more promotive. What's the word here? Supportive.
Supportive?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I could tell because I opened Vulgar's Instagram and I seen Tina.
Done this. Well, you know, on everything we all do, we say like, share, subscribe, comment.
Yeah.
So it's like, I see that. I need to like something. I need to share it.
And I try, but I'm worried I miss things at times.
Yeah.
And somebody might be, I feel like, I worry that somebody will be like, well, he didn't like mine, but he liked Tina Jo.
Yeah.
You know? And it's never intentional.
That's why a lot of times we're like, just like you, okay, how many podcasts are there? Which other ones do I need to track down?
It's a
Because I
lot.
didn't want to miss anyone.
Hey, you know, that's cool though. That is so cool that we have so many podcasts on the Barn Network that we even have the chance to accidentally omit somebody.
Yeah.
That is a cool thing to happen.
Yeah, and I'm open to, I put this out not too long ago, I'm open to trying some others out.
Yeah?
I feel like I'm better at barn stuff now, as far as just balance and being able to manage it,
Yeah.
that I think we probably, if we found the right fit and the right personalities and the content was good and people were creative and passionate about it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm open to it. It's not like we're shutting it out. We're just more selective than we used to be.
Quality over quantity, for sure. Yeah. And that's something definitely to stop and think about. And this is for anybody that's might be looking at getting into podcasting or thinking about doing podcasting. Understand that while, yes, we love what we do, we enjoy it, we have a great time talking to people, hanging out with our cohorts, but it is a job, and it is something that you do have to be committed to, and it is something that you have to be consistent with. If you're not consistent, it's not going to work out. You're not going to have that longevity. That's just the way it works.
If I did have, can I gripe before we close out?
Go for it.
If I did have one gripe, it's when I see people not putting the effort in.
Yep.
Right? If somebody's talking to a band and it's just the same questions.
Yeah.
And not that you have to do the preparation like that I do. I'm always kind of in search of the question that hasn't been asked yet. And I know not everybody's that way. But if I see like where you're just not putting the time in and the commitment to it,
Yeah.
I think you're doing the people that you're promoting a disservice.
Yeah.
It's really disrespectful, if you ask me. Like, if I came here and you didn't even bring up the barn or like Everest Counseling or anything else, I'd be like, what was I, so that gets to me sometimes. And I do have some things that kind of bother me. I think when people are looking for the next sponsorship just for money and you only have 10 followers or something, is like, our whole goal, our whole mission is to provide more than we're taking.
Yeah.
To give more than we're taking. And I think with that has helped us. And with that, we've seen the success that we've had.
Yeah.
If it was just for the short-term profits and the short-term, we could have I could look like a NASCAR guy, right? Where there's like stuff all over.
Yeah.
We're very selective about who we do partner with, and we believe in the brands that if I'm going to send you some to a company or to a business, I want to believe in it. I want to fully support what they're doing. So like, there's been some opportunities where it was, you could get a couple $100 here or there that we just don't do because it's not about that for us.
Yeah. Not a good fit to the family.
The money will come. So.
Yep.
That production will make that money come.
Hey.
That's how I look at it. I'm like, it's just gotta look good. It's gotta be good. Just make it good. Wiley does a good job.
Yes, he does.
That's right.
Right on. Well, Chad, it's been a pleasure finally having you in the Tippy Joe Show studio.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun.